afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Legal team for North Tongue MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa challenges Chief Justice's decision to reconstitute Court of Appeal panel hearing an application by Reverend Kwesi Boateng in the contempt case against the MP. They're live in court. Also on the program, President Ogbodu meets organized labor this afternoon in response to Hands Off Our Hotels demo. But ahead of that, leaders of the Labour Front enter crunch strategy meeting to ensure their demands are met. Some good news coming up. Government clears Global Fund-sponsored essential health commodities that have been locked up at the country's port for at least a year. And much later, we'll be going to Salaga, where residents push back as power outages worsen. This afternoon, the residents are protesting failure of Northern Electricity Distribution Company to curtail these outages. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's take you to the courts now, where new allegations are being made about the Chief Justice. In a rather bizarre turn of events, lawyer for North Tongue MP Thaddeus Sori has alleged that the plaintiff in the case, Reverend Kwesi Boateng, is the spiritual father of the Chief Justice of Ghana, Gertrude Tokonu. Now, Sori's allegation is in response to a reconstitution of the panel hearing challenging the outcome, an earlier contempt case brought against his client, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. He noted that the previous panel was chaired by Justice Jamefe, who had been taking off the original panel. Sori posited that it contradicts the standard practice and undermines a fair trial to his client. Now, counsel for Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa further objected to the reconstitution of the panel, which was today chaired by Justice Pamela Cranting. The Court of Appeal has set Wednesday, June 26, to rule on an appeal by the Secretary of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral Project. Lord Edrasare is our man in court. He's monitoring all of this for us. He'll be joining us very shortly to bring us the latest on this case and the details you need to know. But ahead of that, let's bring you another issue. And residents of Salaga in the East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region are demonstrating against the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, over the perennial power outages in the area. The power situation has become increasingly worse by day, making it difficult for residents and for other socio-economic activities to thrive. Christopher Mwako is a man in that part of the country who'll be joining us very shortly. But let's listen to some sounds from the protest as they happened some minutes ago.
The second time we are doing this demonstration. The first one we did and it don't yield the results. And as regards to that, we decided to organize this second one. It's not about the demonstration, it's not about making noise. We are only appealing to the policy makers, our chief, the traditional authority, our municipal assembly, those, our MP, those who are in the political leaders to help, and then we solve the problem of Salaga. What we need is stable light, stable power to Salaga.
The lighting situation is very worrying that is affecting productivity. In fact, we are able to preserve food even in our houses, and then even offices. The intermittent power, difficulties we are facing is a threat to mental progress in the community. And so that is why we are out this morning to register our displeasure. In fact, it's a peaceful demonstration. Register our displeasure to duty bearers and policymakers to come to our aid. Salaga is on its knees.
This system is very, very, very bad. We have the low current, and also total out. As I'm telling now, you can't put your freezer on, you can't put your TV on. Sometimes even getting to charge a phone becomes a problem. I am a victim. I operate a cold store system. The last 2 months are very best over 6,500. Whoever is in charge that we are really dying in terms of power. We should wake up and make sure that it is resolved.
And you heard some residents of Salaga. Christopher Marco is our correspondent in the northern region. He joins us live on the line. Christopher, the last time we spoke, you talked about power outages 15 times, at least within 1 or 2 hours. Has it gotten worse than this?
Yes, I can hardly hear you.
Okay, Christopher, is it better?
It's better now.
Excellent. I was saying that the last time we spoke, we heard the resident talk about light outs or power fluctuations in like 15 times in an hour or two. And I'm asking if they are hitting the streets now, has the situation got worse than we reported of recently?
Beatrice, I must say that the situation has not received any attention. It's even getting worse by the day because since the other time that we spoke, the power keeps going off and on at any given time. Now, even as we speak, there is no light in the entire Salaga area.
And how are NEDCO officials responding to this?
Yeah, so the NEDCO officials have not said anything, even though they have agreed to come and meet with the aggrieved residents of Salaga to have stakeholder engagement with them. For them, they are saying that the issue is beyond them. They have tried all their possible best to improve upon the situation. What they are considering to do now is to take Salaga off the Bimbila Yendi feed and add them to the Tamale main line. And so they are putting up a substation at Lamashagu in Tamale. So when that is done, they will now take Salaga off the eastern corridor and put them on Tamale feed. That they believe that can improve upon the situation. But aside that, as it stands now, they cannot do much about the situation.
Christopher, are you able to give us further details as regards what NEDCO means when it says that the situation is beyond them?
Yeah, so basically what they are saying is that it has to do with money, and if to improve the situation from Bimbila, Salaga, Wulensi, Pandai, and Basa areas, a new substation will have to be put in place around Pandai area, and the feed must come from Bupe in the central Gonja district, and so which involves a lot of money, and they don't have that capacity. It has to take a government decision, and so what they can do for now is to only try to improve upon the situation so that residents will benefit.
It boils down to money, doesn't it? But can you tell us the impact of this? Are businesses closing down? How are business activities looking like in Salaga?
Yeah, so a lot of people are going out of business. Talk about hairdressers, tailors, welders, and even cold store operators. In fact, someone told me today that he's lost over 650 bags that he brought to put in his cold store to sell and do business with. Unfortunately, they all went bad as a result of the power fluctuations and the low currents. And so businesses are actually suffering the brunt, and they are calling for an improvement of the power situation in Salaga.
Thank you very much, Christopher Marco, our Northern Region correspondent. Let's return to that issue about that case between Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa and Reverend Kusi Boateng of the National Cathedral Secretariat. We're joined by our court correspondent, Lord Adwasare. Lord, if you can hear me, why did Thaddeus Sori, who is representing Okujeto Ablakwa, make the point about Reverend Kusi Boateng being the spiritual father of the Chief Justice? I'm just wondering how this relates to the case.
Right. So currently, the presiding judge or justice of this current panel is Justice Pamela Cranting, and she's the Judicial Secretary. Now, Sado's story indicated that prior to the hearing of their case, Justice Senior Jamefe was the one who presided over the panel. Now, but he indicated when it was time for their case to be called that the panel will be reconstituted, after which he and his panel will come back. Now, Sado's story cited a newspaper report that he saw last week indicating that the Chief Justice had ordered the daughters of the National Cathedral case to be handed over. He had ordered Justice Jamefe to hand it over to a different justice. And so when he came to court and when he realized there had been a reconstitution of the panel, he gave credence to this report. And that's why he indicated that he would not assent, or he does not agree with this reconstitution, because he said that it will affect the fair hearing of the case involving his client, the Member of Parliament for Norton, Samuel Okuchetu Ablakwa.
The lawyer or the counsel for Reverend Kwesi Boateng, Bobby Banson, responded to this. What exactly did he say?
Indeed, Beatrice. So he indicated that the allegations by lawyer Sado's story were simply speculations, because it cannot be the case that a panel which has been considered is just for the case, and for him to even make the connection, alleged connection between the Chief Justice and then the panel, to sort of allege that there could be some form of string pulling or whatever, is speculative. It's merely speculation, and so the court should not heed to his motion and dismiss it outrightly. So tomorrow the court will be back to decide on the objection by Sado's story on the panel reconstitution.
Thank you very much, Lord Adwasare. He's our court correspondent, giving us that update there. Now, academic activities across all 46 public colleges of education remain at a standstill. The industrial action by tutors enters its third week. The Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, declared an indefinite strike on June 14 over the government's delay in implementing the geared arbitral award and negotiated service conditions. The award includes the payment of an additional month's salary for duties performed by CTAG members in 2022. The industrial action has affected learning and extracurricular activities on the various campuses. Last week, for instance, the National Labour Commission directed CTAG to call off the strike for negotiations to resume, but the union has refused to back down until all of its demands are met. 3FM understands that the NLC is contemplating dragging CTAG to court to compel the members to return to the classroom. Now, there are fears the colleges may shut down if the strike prolongs. Now, while majority of students have made their way home, others who are still on campus say they fear for the fate of their academics. Judith Brown is currently monitoring events on the campus in Accra. She joins us live. Judith, can you tell us how students are coping?
Well, it's not been easy for them. Majority of them have already made their way home from school. And the few ones on campus, specifically more of level 100 students here, say that it's not easy at all. I saw some of them making their way to the classrooms because some of their seniors that are the level 300 had already offered to teach them in their classrooms. And so that is how they are coping currently. They have to learn by themselves, or sometimes their seniors have to teach them. And so it's not easy at all, but they say that they are being fed on a daily basis as usual, as they should be. But in terms of the academics, they really fear how things would go for them, especially knowing that they have competitors in universities across the country.
Okay, Judith, but what about word from school authorities?
Well, we've been trying to get the school authorities, but that has proven futile for now. But we know that on June 26, 2024, which is tomorrow, the National Labour Commission will be dragging CTAG to court. Last week, they had ordered or directed that CTAG calls off its strike, but CTAG has refused to do so, and so they have decided to drag CTAG to court tomorrow. We're waiting to see what the outcome of that court hearing will be, but for now, that's what we know based on this matter.
Thank you very much, Judith Brown, reporting live from one of the campuses of CTAC, where the strike is still biting hard. We stay on labour issues, and President Ogbodu is due to meet organised labour this afternoon in response to the massive demonstration against SNIT's controversial sale of its shares in key hotels. Right now, we are learning that organised labour is in its own in a crunch meeting to strategize ahead of that closed-door meeting with the president. Some representatives of organised labour who spoke exclusively with our labour correspondent ahead of the meeting are hoping their demands will be met. Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoku has been following the story. He joins us live on the line. Daniel, of course, you've just told us what organised labour is expecting. What more can you tell us about their stance?
Right. So good afternoon to you, Beatrice. Organized labor is asking the president to, as it were, abide by their earlier decision that there should be a cancellation of the sale agreement to Mr. Brian Echampo. The other side has to do with the president to direct for a full-blown investigation into the operations of Senate. And these are some of the issues labor, when they meet the president this evening, they'll be asking the president to consider. And also there's an issue about the general economic conditions where the meager earnings of workers have been affected badly. If you could recall, from January to June, government gave 23%, where from next month, that's July, 2% to be added to the earlier increment, making it 25%. These are the issues we'll be discussing. Is it possible that the president will introduce cost of living allowance for workers or for workers in this country? These are some of the issues we'll be asking the president to consider when they meet him this evening.
Beyond this very issue, they are meeting the president on which is the SNIT sale of some stake in the hotels. You just mentioned a last thing. How important is that moving forward into all labor issues?
Right. So when we look at the case, for instance, there are two issues now. The case of the SNIT saga. If the president should announce the cancellation of the project, then obviously the current state of those hotels will be left for a committee to be set up, just like what happened to Labadi. This hotel committee was set up to review the operations of Labadi. If a committee is set up, then obviously we are likely to see those hotels coming back. The second leg of the issue, which is the cost of living allowance, it will not be the first time. Around 2018, 2019, the president announced the cost of living of 10 to 16% for workers in this country. And 2014, 2015, President John Mahama also announced a 10% cost of living allowance for workers. So if there should be another cost of living allowance for workers, that will not be anything new. But unfortunately, all those cost of living allowances have no impact on your pensions. And they have no impact on your basic, just an allowance that will be added. But they believe that if they should get that from the president to further cushion workers, then to reduce the burden on workers and what the workers are going through currently based on the general economic conditions.
Thank you very much, Daniel Opoku. He's our Labour Affairs correspondent. Thank you for bringing us those details. We look forward to the outcome of that meeting. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. When we come back, we'll bring you details about the Global Fund's medication cleared, other Tema Port and other stories. Stay with us.
Now is an opportune moment for investors to consider the remarkable investment opportunity presented by the Floria Residence, the pinnacle of luxury living in Cantonment. Offering a range of options from executive studios to lavish penthouses, including 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom apartments. Amenities and services includes round-the-clock security services, dedicated play areas, a bustling commercial zone, state-of-the-art fitness facilities and gym, a well-appointed conference room, an elegant rooftop sky bar, and a breathtaking rooftop infinity swimming pool. Additionally, residents benefit from the convenience of a secured 3-floor underground car park, while those residing in the ocean view penthouses enjoy unparalleled vistas. We are located opposite the Laboni Palace Mall, Accra. Contact us on 0595 700008.
You're Still here on the Midday News on 3FM. Thank you very much for staying. The Global Fund country coordinating mechanism in Ghana has confirmed almost all the essential health commodities stuck at the Tema port have been cleared, as assured by the health minister. Interim chairman of the CCM Ghana, Ernest Amuabing, says their checks at the central medical stores, Aspintex and the Imperial Health Services at Tema on Monday revealed most of the containers have been cleared except for logistics challenges for storage.
Based on our visits, our fact-finding visits to the temporary central medical stores and then IHS, that's Imperial Health Sciences, we can confirm that technically speaking, the 2 weeks deadline of the minister has been met. The only challenge now is that the transportation of the containers from the ports to the warehouses is what is causing a bit of a delay. And this is because the temporary central medical stores, which is receiving all the bed nets, can do a maximum of 16 containers a day. In fact, according to them, their normal routine is to do 8 containers a day. But because of the emergency with the situation we find ourselves, they're now doing up to 16 containers a day, and that's the maximum they can go. So the containers have been cleared at the port, but then the transportation and offloading at the warehouse is what is causing the delay and what will cause 2 extra weeks a delay. So the assurance they have given us is that all things remain equal, by the end of the first week of July, all the commodities would have been cleared. So yes, technically speaking, the minister's timeline has been met, but now the logistics in terms of carting them from the ports to the warehouse is where there is a little challenge. I can confirm that based on the records that IHS showed us, they have distributed all the health commodities that they received, the detonate injections, the TB medicines, everything has been dispatched to the various health facilities across the country.
And you heard there the Global Fund coordinating mechanism in Ghana, the interim coordinator, Otin Boateng, interim chairman rather, Otin Boateng, speaking to us earlier. We stay on health, and the Ministry of Health is giving an indication that the Sewa and Afari hospitals in the Shanti region would be operationalized latest by August this year. The 2 facilities have been completed for several months, but yet to be functional owing to power challenges. The Sector Minister, Dr. Ogbodu, as part of a 3-day working visit in the region, has been touring some health facilities to assess the extent of work and how to speed up to make them operational. Ibrahim Abubakar is monitoring events for us. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, what more can you tell us about this?
Well, Beatrice, like you actually said, these are facilities that, when completed or when operational, will ease the burden of Komfanochi. As we all know, Komfanochi currently serves 12 out of the 16 regions in the country. So obviously the pressure on that facility is huge. And day in, day out, because of even lack of beds, people are turned away and asked to go to other facilities. These 2 facilities were completed years back. So we have, for instance, which one, when operationalized, will be the Ashanti Regional Hospital, was completed somewhere in 2022. And as we speak, it's not been operationalized because they are still having challenge with power issues. And currently, out of the 20 kVA that they've been expected to install here, 10 has been installed, and they are waiting for the other 10 kVA to be installed so that the place will be operational. So this is a 250-bed facility. And also we have Afari, which is around 500-bed facility. And this is something the health minister is doing, going around inspecting the facilities and also trying to see the very, very best way forward to make all these facilities operational. Dr. Ogbodu has been speaking as the health minister.
The Syria project, these power issues and all that, we are going to work together to make sure that as soon as possible, this project becomes useful to the entire region. All of us, I train in Kofanochi as a physician. The pressure on Kofanochi can only be taken off when there are other facilities that can partner Kofanochi. Yeah. So we have a duty, and whether we like it or not, the pressure on the facility will determine the quality of the service. If you have one doctor who has to see 100, 200 people, I mean, how much time can you spend with one? Yeah. And if you have 200 people fighting for a limited space, even the state of mind is also affected. So we are going to work with all stakeholders, the Power Ministry, Energy Ministry, the Regional Coordinating Council, the Ghana Service Agency, to make sure that these projects come up speedily. Work hard by, worst case by August, to operationalize Syria and Afari. Because the two facilities alone would give us close to 600-700 beds.
And you heard the Health Minister, Dr. Bernard Okoboy, giving us update following his 3-day visit of some health facilities in the Ashanti region earlier. You heard our correspondent, Ibrahim Abubakar, bringing us an update of what's happening there. Now, President Akufo-Addo says that his government would ensure that this year's elections reflect the will of the people, a legacy he wants to leave as he ends his mandatory 2-term limit at the presidency. The comment comes as stakeholders highlight the need for the country to have transparent and peaceful polls come December. He said this yesterday. Listen.
We are about to undergo the 9th successive general election in our history in the 4th Republic, on the 7th of December. We have presidential and parliamentary elections on that day to elect a new president. My surgeon at the head of the state is over. I have 6 more months before the Constitution decrees my retirement. And a new president will be elected in my Senate, and a new parliament will be elected in my Senate. As you know, there's been a very protracted struggle to bring democracy to Ghana. It's not something that happened overnight and with ease. It took a lot of sacrifice on the part of our people and several leaders in the process before we reached the 4th Republic, which has been the most stable, the longest enduring republic we've had. We want to maintain the reputation we have as a democratic and open society in Ghana. And we're going to do everything possible to make sure that the elections of the 7th of December are free and fair and credible. We do not subscribe to the view that a group of people can manipulate the will of the people.
I heard that President Akufo-Addo speaking earlier. Let's have a brief conversation with governance expert Professor Bafo Ajimandia. Good afternoon to you, Prof. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Prof, aside from elections, would you say that we have improved in our democratic credentials under the president?
Well, democracy is a political system that has so many up and downs. And I think by and large, Ghanaians as a collective will try to move forward with our democracy. Nonetheless, there have been some serious challenges in all the governments we have had, some avoidable, others not. But overall, I think we seem to be moving forward. At the same time also, I should say that at times the behavior of government or a leader can really create a wrong impression for the kind of move that we have to make.
Going into this crucial election, and I always describe it as crucial because you have a governing party that wants to stay in power, it wants to break the 8, and you have an opposition party that says we've had enough of being in a position. How would you expect our governance systems to work to ensure that we don't erase even the little gains we've made?
Well, in the first place, don't forget that in all elections we have had in Ghana, there have been serious tension and controversies and all. It is true that this time, certain government wants to have an extension, not the government itself, but the party wants to have an extension, because so far it's been every 8 years we have a changeover from one party to the other. So in that respect, I think this year presents a kind of a special challenge for us. And that's why it's important that the leadership, as I think President Akufo-Addo just expressed, make sure that the elections and all the stakeholders we proceed on the processes prescribed by the law so that we can have a smooth election. But I have to confess that since 92, we haven't had what one may call a seamless election. Almost every election we have had has been challenged by the losers. So in the same way, I can expect that who loses this one, the upcoming one will complain. But I think all of us together, and especially the Electoral Commission, we should do the best we can to ensure that there will be minimal complaints and concerns once the elections are over.
Indeed, all of us together, we should ensure things work out. That was Professor Bafwa Jimandia. He's a governance expert. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, Fitch Solution upgrades Ghana's 2024 economic growth forecast to 4.3% from 3.8%. Also, boss of Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System encourages informal sector to embrace electronic payments to save cost.
Our informal sector to transact electronically as opposed to using cash, there will not be a need for those funds to be used in cash management.
Plus, Ghana faces oil price uncertainty as analysts predict fuel prices to drop despite strong demand.
Able to also get the price that they need from the market. So if that should happen, yes, it could drop the oil prices to 60 and even below.
I am Michael Ogbodu. I'll bring you details of our top stories and more shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you for your time and straight into our top story. Fitch Solutions has upgraded Ghana's 2024 economic growth forecast to 4.3% from the previous 3.8%. This reflects stronger than anticipated economic activity. Ghana's Q1 2024 data confirms a positive trend with a 4.7% year-on-year growth, the highest in over 2 years. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details.
Fitch Solutions has upgraded Ghana's 2024 economic growth forecast to 4.3% from 3.8% previously. The firm predicts a 4.5% expansion in 2025. This revision is due to a stronger than expected increase in economic activity for the next 2 quarters of 2024. Fitch Solutions expects economic growth to remain strong, supported by slowing inflation and increased government spending ahead of the December elections. Fixed investment is also expected to continue recovering in 2024. Ghana Statistical Service on June 8, 2024 published Q1 data showing that real economic growth increased to 4.7% year-on-year from 3.8% in Q4 2023, marking the fastest expansion in over 2 years. The growth was attributed to 6.8% expansion in the industrial sector, backed by increased output in mining and quarrying and oil and gas operations. From an expenditure perspective, economic growth was primarily driven by a 13.8% expansion in fixed investment and healthy growth of 11.2% in private consumption.
So that was a 3 Business News Desk report. And away from that, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, Archie Hesse, has raised concerns over use of physical cash for most transactions in the country, noting the high cost involved in physical currency management by the Bank of Ghana. He has urged the promotion and use of electronic payments for transactions instead of physical cash payments in the informal sector. Electronic payments are typically faster than cash transactions, saving time and potentially increasing efficiency. He made the remarks during a media briefing on the Ghana Pay added services to stress the numerous advantages offered by the platform.
Germany, for those of you who have been there before, they use a lot of cash. They don't transact electronically. But to use cash to transact, it means you need to print the currencies, and it costs money. Maybe the systems and the processes needed to print money is in Germany, so it doesn't cost them that much to print the currencies. But in Ghana, we don't have it. We have to import the machines. So government or central bank uses a lot of money to print the currencies. They use a lot of money to hire security services to cut the funds, the monies from the harbor to the central bank before they are distributed to Accra and the various regions. That's a lot of money. And thirdly, they also need to use a lot of money to get rid of the ones that are not fit for use. But if we have enabled our informal sector to transact electronically as opposed to using cash, there will not be a need for those funds to be used in cash management. And that funds, the opportunity cost, can be used to further develop the economy.
So that was Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, Archie Hesse. Now, despite currently strong demand and high prices, major investment bank Citi predicts a dramatic drop in global oil prices by 2025 due to rising inventories, potentially reaching as low as $60 per barrel. This could have a significant impact on Ghana's economy. This outlook comes despite current strong demand and high prices for crude oil.
The rising oil inventories are mainly coming from U.S. production. Executive Director of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, knows that the dynamics are complicated.
What will shift the market with respect to this prediction will be these two players, OPEC plus cuts, and the ability to churn out oil barrels to the market just to send signal to the U.S. shale pipe that yes, they are still a force to reckon with, because they may not be able to lose twice. They lose the market share to U.S. and yet they are not able to also get the price that they need from the market. So if that should happen, yes, it could drop the oil prices to 60 and even below.
This could negatively impact government's budget and its ability to fund social programs and infrastructure development.
On the balance of proportionality in terms of which one will have much impact on the market, I believe relatively moderate oil prices will have much more positive impact on our economy than relatively high oil prices. So yes, it will have positive impact. Albeit we will lose some amount of money from oil export, but at least overall economy in terms of how we can manage inflationary figures and the fact that we are still heavily dependent on importation of this finished product, I think lower oil prices should have positive impact overall.
In the near term, Ghana may benefit from high oil prices as predicted by Goldman Sachs, indicating Brent crude prices are set to rise to $86 per barrel this summer amid strong consumer demand. This could provide a buffer before the expected price drop. The OPEC Plus group of oil producers, of which Ghana is not a member, may take steps to stabilize prices if they fall too low. This could limit the downside risk for Ghana.
Well, so that was a 3 Business News Desk report, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. And Black Rasta takes on the airwaves shortly.